so temperatures are cooling down. I'm in my yard more. Fall is quickly approaching if it's not here already. We're getting out of the 90s and stuff. We're down in the 80s, and it's cooler down in the evening. So I'm in the yard more. I'm using it more. One of the things I like to do is I use my fire pit. So don't mind the dead grass. The grubs are winning the battle for my lawn right now, but we'll take care of them at some other time. But anyway, I want to talk about my fire pit. So I put that in a few years ago. I made these chairs out of some skis and stuff for a project a bunch of years ago too. And those are doing great, but I had a bunch of leftover skis and I made a real quick wood storage rack out of it. And it's not faring so well. You can see it's functional. It holds the wood, but as you can see, it's not very fancy. It's not very interesting looking, but it was more functional. There's the stuff drying from last year, so I'm getting low on wood, but I do need to burn off this stuff and get rid of it, because some of it was here when I bought the place years ago, and I just haven't used some of this old stuff. And then some of this stuff, you can tell, still has bugs in it, so I want to burn this stuff up, get rid of it, spray for bugs. But the project I want to do is build a new wood storage. So that's done its job for the last few years, but it is done and time to be retired. So this is the north side of my shed, so it gets a lot of shelter and stuff, but I want to keep the apples from the apple tree dropping on it in the spring. So keep all that crap off of it. I want to keep the snow and the rain off of it, my dried wood, so I'll have good wood to burn from my fire pit. It's sitting over there. So I've been doing some thinking. It's a 10 by 12 shed, so this is the 12-foot length side of it. So I'm thinking I might do like an 8-foot post and beam kind of construction, or post and beam style, or at least inspired shed. Or so open post and beam. It'll be I think interesting enough, maybe an interesting enough project, and if it's something you like, you can either watch along or do it yourself. So I want to make it basically 4x4 posts, I think. A few things are undecided, but I think I want to just do 4x4s, make it so I can stack double deep, so one row and then another row in front. So less than 4 feet wide, about 8 feet long, and maybe 5-6 feet tall, so maybe it'll hold a cord of wood. And typically these structures will have the roof will slope up to the front, which gives you better access to it. But with my shed being right here, I don't want snow and rain and everything to come off the shed roof and then hit this roof and then go back towards the shed. The whole idea is to keep the water and stuff away from it. Even though I lifted the shed and put it on some railroad ties, I really don't want water going back towards the shed. So when I do this roof up here, instead of pitching it back towards the shed again, I'm going to pitch it towards the front. So we'll have a little bit of overhang on each side, but we'll come up with a cool drawing for that. Something that looks neat, a little post and beam inspired, and then burn up all this old wood and get a nice fresh cord from somebody of some good quality firewood. And okay, so it's the next day. Just kidding, it's not the next day. You can kind of tell from the grass behind me. It's been a lot of next days. So I want to catch you up on what I've been up to. So the grass is better, so it's been a while. Temperature's changing still, but I want to knock this thing out. It's been long enough where I've rethought the build multiple times. I've built it in my head half a dozen times. I've changed things. I had a big headache about how I wanted to do the roof. I felt like I was overbuilding the thing, which is what I have a tendency to do. So I stripped it down. I simplified the thing. I'm going to make it basically out of 4x4 posts, and then do a lot of the support structure with 2x6s, 2x4s, and 2x3s. So we'll get into that. But the other thing too is preparing a level base for it to sit on. I was thinking, paver base, or road base with sand and pavers on top, or at least cinder blocks or something like that. I decided I've got a ton of gravel in my yard already, so I just pulled some gravel from part of the yard and piled it up here and made a nice foundation, leveled it off. So we've got a nice level foundation for the structure to sit on. So that's done. You notice I did remove a portion of the fence. The old bad firewood's gone. The other stuff thrown away. The wood that was sort of drying that had the bugs in it, that is gone. So all that bad bug infested wood is gone and out of the yard. So now I can start from scratch, nice and fresh. So I didn't want to rethink the thing again. I think I got a good plan in place. So I ran to the store today, grabbed a bunch of supplies. So we're gonna get going on this thing today. So let me show you what I've been up to. So I just came back from my box store. So I got my 4x4 posts for my uprights. I have 2, 4, 6, 2x6s of various lengths to go around the base perimeter and through the middle to give the log support to sit on. A bunch of 2x4s, that'll probably do most of the diagonal support to keep it from racking. And then another 2x4 strip around the top, just kind of keep everything square. And then the 2x3s are to help with a corrugated roof, and also to build some sort of platform for the logs to actually sit on in the rack. I went to super basic corrugated steel for the roof, way it's not too heavy and it'll just function to keep the snow and rain and stuff off of it. I was overthinking it and thinking plywood and underlayment and shingles and soffit and fascia board, and it was crazy. Because the other thing is I'm building this by myself, so I wanted everything to be light and easy to be able to move around, because I'm gonna have to scooch the thing away from the shed to finish it and everything like that, and then scoot it back. So if you're have some help and with a friend, you can probably knock this thing out, at least in a weekend. When you're by yourself, things take a little bit longer. When you're filming things, it takes even longer. And if you want to finish it, that takes even longer. So that's the wood. Okay, so like I said, I like to overbuild things. So I usually like lag bolts or carriage bolts. They're really awesome for keeping things together, especially outside. I'm going to try the structural screws. Those are much quicker. You shouldn't have to drill a pilot hole, which is kind of cool about them. I may anyway. I did some tests with this thing the other day, and it did split out some wood, but it was very dry that had been outside for a while. So the fresh stuff from the lumber yard, it may not do it. So we'll try it on some smaller pieces. If it does, then I'll pre-drill a smaller hole, at least a pilot hole for these things to go through. And then I've got a couple other sizes for these. Longer ones are probably for the 2x4 diagonal strapping. These smaller ones are probably for the 2x3s for the roof decking, and also for the deck for the firewood to sit on. And I got my specialty screws for the steel roof. And then, like I mentioned, I am going to use pressure treated for it to sit on, because that's the ground contact. But whenever you cut pressure treated, you should treat the cut end. This wood preservative, the copper green, comes in green and it comes in a tinted brown. The pressure treated wood in our area is the brown stuff. So I couldn't find brown to match, but they do have the green stuff, so I'll treat all the ends. So that stuff should keep the bugs and the rot away for a while. And if it looks really bad, I may just stain it with like the rest of the structure. So I found a nice gray stain. It's the stuff here. Sorry, that stuff there. And then I made my list when I ran to the box store, and I don't know if you can see the drawing very well. It looks like it's kind of blown out pretty white, and I drew it pretty light, so kind of an idea of what I'm doing, if you can even see that. If you can't see it, well, watch me build it. So I got all the stuff. I think I'm ready. At least the one thing that's driving me nuts is the roof was giving me fits and stuff, and then how did I want to do the base? So now that the base is level, I just need a flat area. So I think I'm going to start tackling stuff, get the 4x4s together, and then just start working on the thing. Okay, here's a quick update. I drug the woodshed over into its final location. It's not its final because I need to tip it over and tip it and pull it away from the shed and everything so I can get to the backside to screw some things in. But I didn't want to make it any heavier or add any more things to it because I wouldn't be able to bring it over by myself. It's not that bad, but big and awkward. So if you were doing this with some help or your neighbor or something like that, you could probably just build the whole thing in your workshop or your shed, or your garage or something, and then just pick the whole thing up and bring it over and finish off by putting the roof or something on it. Since I'm working by myself, I didn't want to make it too heavy, so I just picked up one end and then drug it. So either like a wheelbarrow backwards, grabbing the two things, or grabbing a dead body by the legs and dragging it through the grass, whatever. So whatever reference you want to use. So I think I'm going to finish the structure part. So I've got 2 more 4x4s to go in the middle, and then I've got some diagonal bracing to go in the back and then on the sides. That's the main structure. And then I think I want to stain it and then treat the cut edges of the pressure treated on the ground before I finish up fixing the pad that the wood's going to sit on, which is basically just going to be those 2x3 pickets with a gap in between it for airflow. And then the top's going to have the 4 2x3s that this steel is going to sit on. So I'm going to get to that point, finish it all, and then I can finish assembling tomorrow, probably after everything's painted, and hopefully I get that all done today so it paints and dries overnight, and then I can finish assemble, be done with it, and then get some wood and fill the thing up. So I got my base put together. I wanted to run that middle pole full length. I didn't want to cut it in the middle and have it stop there, so strength that way, and then just some bracing to keep it from moving. I got the rest of the bracing in. Since I went with corrugated steel, I'm hoping that 30-something inch gap right there is going to have 4 2x3s across it, and then perpendicular to that is the ribs of the corrugated roof. So I'm hoping that should be strong enough. It's only 4 by 8 feet, there's not going to be a lot of weight on it because it should melt off that pretty quick with snow, and then water's going to run right off. So again, that corrugated steel should not be that heavy, and I should not have to make that super strong, because that's the issue I was having with overthinking things. I wanted to put another truss kind of thing here and on the other side, and it kind of, after shaking the thing and moving around, it just doesn't seem like I need it. The other thing, you probably saw me in the video with some shorter 2x4s with some yellow ends on them. I ran out of 2x4, so I must have miscounted. So I got my diagonal braces on either end, but I did not get them in the back. So may not need it, but it makes me a little bit nervous, because when you stack all the firewood higher and higher, it's going to want to push out on the 4x4. So it makes me a little bit nervous. But anyway, for right now, it's starting to get late in the day. I'm going to lose the light here in a couple hours, so I think I might just stop here, treat the ends of my pressure treated stuff, then throw a Crota stain on the main body of the structure, and then cut up all of the 2x3s to length that are going to go here, and get those stained as well. That way, I'm going to have to do some touch up and stuff tomorrow or the next day, but at least that gets most of it going, and I can continue on with the build with this. So I just have to pull it out and do the backs, stain those later or something. But that'll get me ahead. So. Okay, it's the next morning, and it really is the next morning. So I stayed up late. It got a little bit dark. So let's just check up on things and see how far I got. So I did end up staining the structure. Didn't do the base, but I did get all those boards cut up. There's some of them. I got other stashed somewhere else. So those are all cut to length. So let's just check on stuff. So nice thing is, see, the pile of lumber's gone. Most of it's over here. So got the main structure stained gray. I was saying it was getting late, and the sun disappeared on me. So the base was pretty much the last half hour was painting that in the dark. So I did notice I missed a little spot there, but I can touch that up when I do the rest of the 2x3s that are making up the bottom there. So other than that, it looked pretty good. Coverage was good. Got everything done. So the other thing I did was I stained those 2x3s that the corrugated steel roofing is gonna sit on. So my concern was we got a storm coming in the next day or so, so kind of wanted to get the roof on and everything, and then I can get to the base of this thing later, get the firewood later, that kind of stuff, but wanted to get the roof on it. So today, gonna put the 2x3s on top of the roof, get the corrugated steel cut down and in place. Then I want to level the thing and push it into where its final resting place is going to be, so I see if I need to adjust anything or bring some gravel in or whatever. So that's on for today. So if you feel bad that you missed me staining stuff, I've got to stain the 2x3s for the bottom, so maybe I'll do a time lapse on that, and then if that's the stuff that you really love to watch, maybe I'll just leave it going and you can watch it the paint dry. So that'll be fun. Anyway, so roof, level it, paint the sticks for the base, let those dry, we'll assemble those, and we should be in pretty good shape. So what's up on tap for today? Okay, so I'm going to cut down the panels for the roof. These are 8-foot panels. I just clamped the two of them together. I just need four pieces all together. So just cut them straight in half. Clamp them so they won't move and I don't destroy all of them all at once. so I'm going to get the strapping up on the roof, and then the corrugated steel. I bought a trim piece for the back side. We'll get that up, and then we'll level it. So I'll get that part. Okay, so quick update on where we stand now. Got all the roof on, so let's take a peek at that real quick. It went okay. Obviously, you want the seams like this, an overlap with a screw in the top holding both together. My measurement, I'm pre-measured everything, and it was supposed to be exactly 8 feet, but I do have an overhang over here, which bugs me a little bit because I could have fudged it a little bit further on the other side and equaled that out more, but once you start putting sheets up, you've already got holes in the sheets, so you can't really move it after the fact. So, and then the other thing I did was I put this flashing on the back, because my biggest pet peeve with these shed roofs is if you don't have something like that on the back to divert the water away, it really soaks into the wood and stuff here. So, or gets on the back side, or gets on the bottom edge of the corrugated steel and then runs down the bottom side of it and drips out the front. So, all that stuff I hate. So, all right, so the only thing left, also did level everything, so through level on the side to side and front to back. We're within a 1/4 inch for the whole thing, a little less than a 1/4 inch, so I think it's good enough. You can see that the shed drops about 2 inches from the back, and over 12 feet it drops 2 inches to the front. When you pick up a 10 by 12 shed full of stuff by yourself and try to level it, it's a little bit difficult. So it was pretty close when I did it, and it's settled again. So not enough for me to worry about. The shed project was more a, let's paint it, level it, get it out of the dirt so it'll last longer. So hopefully just gave it a little more life. We'll see over time. But anyway, as far as this project goes, the only thing I have left is the slats to go on the base that are going to hold my firewood. So I'm going to stain all those. Maybe we'll time lapse that. And then for those of you that are interested, we will time lapse it drying, so you can watch the stain dry. So here's the update after getting everything all put together. You just watched me put those in. They went pretty good. I made a quick little spacer, just so you can see that, and just measured out an inch because I wanted an inch overhang on those. If the boards were not quite the right length, I cut them all exactly the same length, but if they weren't the right length, I wanted the 1 inch reveal on the front, and then whatever crookedness we would have had on the back, but I mean the back's straight too, so they were all cut the same length. So we're done that. I might put something here, just like a 2x4 to fill in that space, but nothing's ever going to sit on it, so it's more of a visual thing than anything. Maybe we keep leaves from getting down there or something. That's both sides. I don't think I'm going to put the back supports in. One, it's going to be a pain in the butt, but this thing's pretty darn sturdy, and after looking at it complete, I'm not going to put nearly as much wood as I thought it was going to hold, so I think weight wise we're probably going to be pretty good. I I did make a goof, so I'm gonna have to go back and fix stuff. I won't make you guys watch me, but noticed a couple of seams on the roof. I showed a good seam, but I accidentally overlapped this wrong, so this one needs to be on top of that one. Unfortunately, I already put in this back flashing, so I'll have to take that flashing off, take all the screws off the back, and then undo these screws on each seam, and then there should be enough flex that I can peel it back and then flip it the right way and use the same hole. So luckily that's not an issue, but just a little oops. Yeah, I got going on projects, and it was like 3 o'clock or something before I ate anything, so maybe my brain food ran out or something, but I made a goof. Sometimes I get going too fast, so made a mistake there, but we'll fix that before we load it up with firewood. So next step is getting some firewood, loading it up, and probably just lessons learned or some things I might do different to finish up. Okay, just wanted to wrap this project up. I think overall it went well. I think I've already pointed out a couple things that I would have done a little bit different, but overall happy with the project. Two more things that I would point out is, I mean, you build this whenever you want, but I built it in the fall, so getting firewood was a bit of a pain, so it took me about a week to track down someone that actually had firewood. I had to split it myself, so they're not exactly the right sizes, that kind of stuff, but it's what I could find at the time. So you can build a project whenever, but if you're getting firewood, get it in the middle of summer, get it off season when it's available. So that was one issue I ran into. And then the other thing, I do like coming up with the projects and designing things on my own. That's kind of the fun of the project for me. If this is the first time you've done a project like this and you're a little nervous about that, because I did point out that I was having issues with the roof and kind of redesigned it in my head a bunch of times. I like that process, but it can also be frustrating. So if this is your first time doing this kind of project, there's tons of like online options. People sell already made instructions and that kind of stuff. So you can go online, find something that you like, download, a cut sheet, which is all the lumber you'll need, screws, that kind of stuff, and a kind of step-by-step how to do it. So that might be a good route to go. But other than that, I think it went well. If you like this video, mash all the buttons. That helps me out a lot. And on to the next project.